The company just graduated and arranged accommodation. On the first day of moving in, the roommate also brought her sister. The older sister, who is 20 years older than her, pointed to me and said to other roommates, "You young people like to order takeaway, eat junk food and spend a lot of money. I'll help you cook, and you just need to give me 2,000 yuan a month. In addition, I have a nervous breakdown. Don't come back so late, it will affect my sleep. Also, the room with the balcony looks good to me. Leave it to me." I looked confused. Whose inverted woman released this? 1. Looking at my roommate Wu Lily huddled in the corner without saying a word. I laughed angrily. Her sister Wu Ping crossed her waist and instructed us. "This house is the dormitory given to us by the company. There are 4 rooms upstairs and downstairs. Don't disturb each other." As a result, Wu Ping was going to occupy our room as soon as she came. Did I hear it right? "Do you have a room alone? What should we do?" Wu Ping waved his big hand and said, "You two are in the same room. Young people should know how to be humble." "Oh." I deliberately raised my voice. "Have you signed your contract?" "Contract? What kind of contract?" "The employment contract. This suite is the dormitory for our employees by the company. You can't enter without a contract." "Sister, where is your contract? We need to take it to register." "That I'm not afraid of her. It is said that the post 00s will rectify the workplace, and colleagues will be fine. If you bring a sister, you will want to ride on my head." If she provoked me, she kicked the iron plate. Hearing this, Wu Ping was speechless and then said angrily, "What kind of contract? Anyway, I want to live here. Don't talk nonsense and pay for this month's living expenses." We looked at each other, and Wu Lily didn't say a word. I was not polite. I directly called the police and informed the company's logistics that someone wanted to be the second landlord. Wu Ping suddenly exploded in anger. "What are you talking about, the second landlord? I'm kind to cook for you. What's wrong with collecting some living expenses? You little girls have ruined my sister." After the police came, they were speechless when they heard her words. The company's logistics was a sister in her 30s. When she heard the words, she immediately said coldly, "Our company's dormitory refuses non-contract personnel. Wu Lily, if you don't solve the problem, then terminate the contract. In addition, the company provides food and accommodation, and the dormitory is not allowed to open fire. This is a rule. Our company provides an apartment building and we can't cook." When Wu Ping heard this, she suddenly made a fuss and wanted to beat someone. She was directly taken away by the police. Wu Lily slowly packed up her luggage and took away all her sister's things. The other 2 roommates gave me a thumbs up. "Surui, you are awesome." "Yes, what a strange thing. It's so bad." I smiled and took out the fruit in my bag and divided it with them. At night, Wu Ping came back and glared at me fiercely. I ignored her. Wu Lily pushed her out. "Sister, you go first. The company has installed surveillance. If non-company personnel come in, the money will be deducted." Hearing the words, Wu Ping was reluctant to leave. I'm happy. It turns out that Wu Lily can talk. I thought she was dumb. As soon as she said that she wanted to deduct the money, she opened her mouth. It seems that she is not a xiaobai who knows nothing. When I went to the company the next day, I unexpectedly found that Wu Ping was also there. She took a mop to mop the floor in the lobby downstairs of the company. Seeing us, Wu Ping immediately rushed over, took out a bottle of spray and sprayed it at us. I don't know where the fly bug came from, kill the poison. I immediately turned around and behind me was the department manager. Suddenly, she was sprayed on her face, and she couldn't help screaming. Where did the crazy woman come from? "Security guard, call the police." Seeing this, Wu Ping shouted, "I'm the company cleaner. What's the alarm? There are so many flies, what's wrong with me killing insects? Young people nowadays are so pretentious. It's not insecticide spray." The manager was furious, and his eyes were full of anger. Soon, the security guard dragged her out directly, and the manager also went to the hospital. After arriving at the police station, Wu Ping was still bold and said, "What's wrong with this? I'm a company cleaner, and it's all in accordance with the above regulations. She's just too pretentious." Point 2. When the manager heard this, he was so angry that he took a picture on the table with the appraisal certificate. "Is this an insecticide? You added 84 and detergent in it. These two are soaked together, but they are poisonous. I was almost blinded by you. Also, who recruited you in? Get out of here with that idiot." Wu Ping was stunned and sat on the ground and cried, "Oh my God! I just came to take my sister to work. I didn't expect such a thing to happen. I won't live, I won't live." The manager was so angry with her words that his brains were buzzing, and we witnesses were stunned. I can see that people with a strong sense of morality are simply at all for Wu Ping. But obviously our manager doesn't like this set. Either you lose money, or you deliberately hurt people and go to jail. I have a way to make you unable to eat and walk around. The manager asked for 20,000 yuan with a gloomy face. Wu Ping still wanted to shout and try her best. He simply stood up and said to the police that there was no reconciliation. She immediately became cowardly, and after losing the money, she muttered, After we went back, we saw Wu Lily huddled in the corner, her eyes dodging. My other two roommates and I watched her shake our heads and show up such a sister. It's so pitiful. On the first day of work, Wu Lily became famous. The first thing the manager did when he came back was to check Wu Ping's sister on Wu Lily's head. I was going to fire her directly, but now I don't have enough manpower, so I'm staying for the time being. However, it was soon sent to the hardest working department on the front line. After this matter stopped, Wu Ping lost money and didn't dare to squeak again. But I didn't expect that she was still doing cleaning in the company. I heard that this was someone from the outsourcing company, so everyone didn't say much. As long as she doesn't affect her normal office work. The interns had dinner together at noon. Because we didn't have a meal card, the company issued us a temporary meal coupon. The daily meal supplement is 12 yuan and the meal is not bad. We interns gathered together to eat so that we could eat a few more dishes. However, we stay away from Wu Lily. A week later we sat together to eat. As soon as we moved our chopsticks, we stretched out one hand and directly took away the pork chops on the plate. I was a little confused and looked up at the culprit, which was Wu Ping. I was stunned and watched her reach out for the second time. I slapped the back of her hand and she was in pain. You hit me. What's wrong with hitting you? Don't be a cleaner and a beggar? Who asked you to steal my dishes? Wu Ping's face sank. What's the matter? You are still isolated. What does my sister eat? Why do you eat delicious food and drink spicy food together? Hearing the words, I suddenly laughed. Isn't there an AC count in your heart, elder sister who is not isolated? What did you say? I said you can look at the bulletin board at the door if you have nothing to do. Non-headquarter employees are not allowed to come in. Wu Pingjing, when he was about to shout, Zhao Mei, the head of the logistics department, came over and saw her. His face suddenly sank. What's wrong with you? Get out. The hygiene of the canteen is very important. Take your dirty mop and leave. Wu Ping was reprimanded by Zhao Mei and fined 200 yuan, and suddenly became much more obedient. The other two roommates looked worried when they saw me. Surui, you are being targeted by her. What should I do if I trouble you then? Find it, I'm not afraid. As long as she is not afraid of fines. I can see that Wu Ping is afraid of spending money. When it comes to fines, she hasn't come in for a week. 3. After 1 month of internship, we need to make a monthly summary. Several interns have to take turns to talk about a month's experience. After I went back, I finished the summary on the computer and sent it. As soon as I went out, I heard Wu Ping's voice, and I immediately became nervous. Wu Lily, you are so bold. What are you using? Can I wear it? You don't learn well at a young age. Are you worthy of me? When I came out, I saw that the floor was full of clothes, and several of them were quite familiar. Isn't that my suspender skirt? I lowered my head and picked it up with an angry face. What is this? Why do you touch my clothes? Wu Ping turned her head and saw me. Suddenly, as if she had discovered a new continent, she rushed over and pointed at me. It turned out to be you. You, a woman didn't learn well and spoiled my sister. You have to be responsible. I was stunned. Are you sick? Who has time to take your sister with you? You admit it. Whose serious little girl is dressed like this? Also, look at what you drew, just like a street one. I sneered and said, you know so well, is it possible that you have done it? You. Little bitch, I won't tear your mouth apart. She was about to pounce on her as she said, and I raised the water cup in my hand and splashed it. Ah! Wu Ping screamed and I pointed at her. Or get out of here. Or I'll call Manager Zhao now. Break into the dormitory and destroy my clothes. You should pay the money. I made a gesture to call. Wu Ping was scared and cursed and left. I was not polite and took a photo and sent it to Zhao Mei. Sister Zhao, Wu Lily let her in again. Our clothes are ruined. Can we change the dormitory? Zhao Mei immediately called. After learning what had happened, she sighed. This Wu Lily, the personnel department should not have recruited her at the beginning. If you bear with it, I will change her in 2 days. I was relieved to get Manager Zhao's words and turned to look at Wu Lily. If you let her come over again, don't blame us for being rude. The other two roommates also helped. Yes, this house is the dormitory given to us by the company. We have never brought anyone in. If you do, we will also bring someone in later. Don't be silent. Pretend to be honest and don't speak every time. Is it okay for you to pretend to be dumb? Wu Lily was blushed by the three of us, and it took a long time to say, I'm sorry. Seeing her like this, I sighed. Forget it. Just wait for another dormitory. Wu Lily looked at me in surprise and I shrugged her shoulders. You still expect us to live in one room? Your sister broke my clothes and I didn't let her compensate. Come a few more times, do we want to live? Wu Lily didn't say anything, turned around and went into the room. I rolled my eyes. When will this day end? When I put away my clothes, I'll go down to buy fruit. As soon as I walked down, I saw Wu Ping. It was so bad. She pulled Wu Lily and stuffed a bag of fruit over. I've already told you. Why do you buy the regular price? While it's dark, buy some discounts. After saying that, he stuffed the bag of fruit into her hand. When she saw me, Wu Ping snorted coldly. Nowadays, young people really don't know how to live. If you listen to me and give me 2,000 yuan a month, I will keep it. so that you can combine meat and vegetarian food and eat happily. I ignored her and went into the fruit shop. As a result, Wu Ping followed her. Watching me buy grapes and durian, Wu Ping suddenly exclaimed, "You loser! I know how to spend money indiscriminately. We Lily are so vain because of you." As soon as I heard the sound, I was suddenly unhappy and then shook the bag. What, a fruit can spoil her? Then don't let her come out. You can tie up the family by yourself. You little girl, you have sharp teeth and mouth. We Lily are so well behaved. You spend a lot of money. She only has 1,000 yuan a month for living expenses. Can she be happy if you spend like this? You are not allowed to buy these or wear such clothes in the future. Did you hear that? I'm talking to you. She suddenly came up and pulled me. My hand slipped, and the durian fell to the ground and hit her feet. Suddenly the pain made her scream. No permission to leave. You hurt me, pay the money. She was so painful that she burst into tears, and she grabbed me and didn't let go. I was furious, and then took out my mobile phone and called the police directly. Comrade police, someone is robbing. It's in Minghua fruit shop. Wu Ping was stunned when she heard it. What nonsense are you talking about? 4. I sneered and pointed to the top of my head. There is surveillance. If you want to refute or touch porcelain, I will accompany you to the end. When the police came, they were a little confused when they saw this scene. The clerk took the initiative to hand over the surveillance camera. Hearing the sound in the surveillance camera, Wu Ping suddenly jumped up. I didn't rob, I didn't. Look, it was her durian who smashed me. Comrade policeman, she asked me not to buy things and not to wear clothes. I think she is making trouble. You arrest her. The clerk also testified that there was something wrong with this guy's brain. The police immediately took us away, and Wu Ping wailed before leaving. After entering the police station and learning what had happened, the policeman was also a little speechless, but he still reprimanded Wu Ping severely and told me to go out and protect myself. I was grateful and turned my head and left with durian. Wu Ping was so angry that her teeth were itchy. After going back, I was happy when Wu Lily was not here, but I didn't know when she could move out. Early the next morning, the manager asked us to prepare and report to the conference room at 10 o'clock. Wu Lily, go buy some fruit, Suruwei. You tidy up the conference room. The manager assigned us tasks, and we went to prepare for each other. When it was time and I entered the conference room, I couldn't help but be a little shocked and stared wide-eyed. The manager was also confused. What's the matter? Is this the fruit you bought? Originally, I bought grapes and small tomatoes for seasonal fruits, but when it came to us, it was apples cut into pieces. There are also a few peeled orange petals, which are not fresh at first glance. Wu Lily, is this the fruit you bought? Wu Lily's face suddenly turned red, and I took a deep breath. Wu Lily, you won't be deceived, will you? This is a lot of money. I gave you 300 yuan to buy fruit, and you bought this crooked melon and cracked dates. Let's go and make it clear to the boss. The little girl in our company can't be bullied. Zhao Mei patted the table with righteous indignation. Let's go. She was going to find someone to quarrel. The manager couldn't help laughing when he saw this scene. I'm afraid it's not the boss who made it bad, but someone did it on purpose. He leaned on the back of the chair and hugged him with his hands. Looking at the other party, Wu Lily blushed, and I suddenly reacted. Who else can have this handwriting except that elder sister? Wu Lily, take out the invoice for your fruit purchase and let me have a look. Wu Lily took out the invoice and I came closer and took a look. Good man, didn't you buy Qingwang grapes, tomatoes and pomegranates? Where are the things? The manager knocked on the table. You are an intern. You should know that every expenditure of the company must be evidenced. I have to see what you buy. It's too much for you to be good. Take things out quickly. I won't argue with you this time. Don't come if you do it again. Tears rolled in Wu Lily's eyes. I noticed something. Isn't it really what her sister did? Wu Lily, hurry up and don't waste time. The meeting will start in 10 minutes. This time not only the manager, but even the big boss will come over. If you... Wu Lily burst into tears. I was stunned and I didn't know which sentence I said wrong which made her like this. I was a little speechless. Why are you crying? Take out something. Is it difficult? Did you lose it? 5. She shook her head and said, No, it's my sister. My sister did it. Call and ask your sister to deliver the things immediately. Don't delay. Suruwei, you lost these. Prepare mineral water and potted plants to put here. Where are your snacks? Take it out and put it on. The manager quickly remedied and we acted quickly. Fortunately, there are enough inventory at ordinary times. At this time, Wu Lily called and Wu Ping rushed over in a hurry. Who asked me to come here? Just a few fruits. What's the big deal? You speak with your mouth at the meeting and you don't come to eat. What's the matter? Take money as not as money. When the manager heard what she said, he was stunned. Wu Ping was still complacent and boasted. I tell you, I can get all these fruits for 10 yuan. It doesn't look good, but it doesn't eat the same. You young people just can't endure hardships. It's okay if you want to eat well. 300 yuan is not enough. I know someone in the fruit shop downstairs. You can charge 3,000 yuan and I can help you buy it. After saying that, the QR code of the mobile phone appeared. The manager looked at her in surprise and then laughed. Either you give me back 300 yuan, or I'll call the police right away. Also, Wu Lily, you both can pack up and leave. The manager really doesn't want this kind of guy to be in our company. It's all weird. Wu Ping's face turned red, and Zhao Mei said in a low voice, let's wait until the meeting is over. Today happens to be their turn. My roommate's wonderful sister wants to teach us the rules 39,103 inch. Wu Ping, hand over the money quickly and follow me. Zhao Mei took her away. This was not the first time she had dealt with her. She knew too well what this woman looked like. The company actually got into such a trouble, which was really disgusting and unexpected. At this time Wu Ping also muttered, what's so great? I'll help you save money and make mistakes. From a distance I heard Zhao Mei impatient. Did the company let you save this money? You are not an employee of the company. It's your turn to save. And do you know what it's called? This is called embezzlement of public funds, which is illegal. When she said this, Wu Ping knew how powerful it was and quickly returned the money, while Zhao Mei went to buy fruit in person. When the boss came, he saw everything on the table and nodded. Obviously, he was not affected. And the monthly summaries of several of us were also presented one by one. When it was Wu Lily's turn, she told her work in the month with a low face. Everyone listened and looked at each other. She stood in the store all day long, watching the anecdotes on the street for 8 hours from morning to night, and did nothing? The front line of the store is so hard. She didn't do anything to send out leaflets to customers. Everyone has to work hard to stay in this company as an intern. It's Wu Lily's turn. How can she do 8 hours a day without gain? The big boss also frowned. Unexpectedly, her score was the lowest after the end of this month. In addition to what Wu Ping did, the boss immediately asked her to pack up and leave. That Wu Lily didn't do it. What did I do wrong with the agreed 3-month assessment? Why do you want to clear me? When I said this, I couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Wu Lily can talk. Then why didn't she say a word when there was a conflict? He doesn't want to talk to us but only wants to talk to the big boss. 6. When the boss heard her say this, he was a little stunned for a moment and said in a low voice for a long time, you don't meet our human standards. What are your standards for emerying people? Nowadays, young people can't endure hardships. I can endure hardships. I have gone to the hardest departments on the front line. Why don't you want me? The boss gave it to the personnel manager with a headache. Who recruited this guy? You are responsible for it yourself. The other two have become regular. The boss spoke, and the personnel manager immediately took us through the onboarding procedures. I didn't expect that under the background of Wu Lily, we looked particularly prominent. Outside, Wu Lily still looked unconvinced. Manager, I can't find a place for the time being. Can you give me a few days? Considering Wu Ping's difficult, the manager agreed to have a 10-day grace period. The original agreed change of dormitory has now become an indefinite extension. I feel a little helpless when I think that she will stay here for 10 days. The other two roommates comforted me. Forget it, don't be angry. It's also because of her that we became regular this time. This time the big boss gave us all 3 regulars at once. I heard that other departments were envious. I curled my lips and told them what happened last night, and they were shocked. Oh my God, her sister is the best. No wonder you came back so late last night. This is so disgusting. I sighed helplessly. All right, don't say anything. Just bear with it. Wu Lily had to find a family. Because she left early and returned late every day, these 10 days passed quickly, and I didn't take it seriously. But when I came back on the 10th day, I found that the dormitory was empty. Yes, it's empty in that sense. Except for the things in our own room, all the electrical appliances in the living room, bathroom and kitchen are gone. I was dumbfounded when I saw this. It took me a long time to realize that we didn't take the wrong way. This was emptied. My roommate should call the police quickly, and I will call Zhao Mei again to ask for dormitory monitoring. When she learned that our dormitory had been vacated, Zhao Mei was also dumbfounded. What's going on? Why do you always have trouble? I don't want to either. Who told us to mess with Chiba? After Zhao Mei adjusted the surveillance, the police also came over. When they saw that Wu Ping commanded the workers to move all the electrical appliances inside, Zhao Mei's face turned green. At this time I was also a little speechless. I called Wu Lily and found that I had been blacklisted, and I didn't know where to contact Wu Ping. After the police registered, they began to look for someone, but the 2 sisters were as if they were missing. We changed the lock and installed a surveillance camera at the door. We were wary every day for fear that the weirdo would come over. When I was at work for 2 days, a message suddenly came from my mobile phone, showing that someone was wandering at the door. I immediately turned on the monitor and saw that it was Wu Ping. She didn't open the door and kicked the door angrily twice. I immediately turned on the monitor and sounded the alarm. Wu Ping looked up and saw the camera. She was so scared that she quickly covered her face and ran away. When I saw this scene, I couldn't help laughing out loud. I had the guts to come here and steal things again. I couldn't find her before, but now I caught her. I went straight to the property and lied that I had lost my key, and wanted to see the surveillance. Unexpectedly, I found that Wu Ping also lived in this community, just in front of us. Pulling the roommate, the 3 of us went straight downstairs. When we saw Wu Lily, we hurried up and surrounded her. Wu Lily was shocked. What are you doing? When I saw Wu Lily, I was shocked to find that she was completely different from before. She used to be moderate, wearing a shirt and black trousers, but now she is dressed enchantingly and wearing makeup. 7. Comply with it was not because the face was vaguely visible that I almost couldn't recognize it. Wu Lily, return the things you stole quickly. That is, we have all called the police. Wu Lily held her hand and looked disdainful. If you have the ability, you can call the police. Anyway, I don't have money. Besides, it's not me who stole things but Wu Ping. You can go find her. We glanced at each other and were about to argue that Wu Ping appeared. The difference is that she didn't come to us, but aimed at Wu Lily. Dang girl, I finally found you. How long have you lived here with that man? When did you fall in love? Wu Ping came up with a reprimand, dragging Wu Lily and not letting go. As soon as she turned her head and saw me, she suddenly became uneasy. I just said, why is she so obedient? She made a boyfriend and learned from you. Wu Ping rolled up her sleeves and pointed at me. It's you, the little vixen. She was very good when she was studying, but now she is like this at work. Look how I teach you a lesson. Saying that he was about to come up, I waved Wu Ping's hand away. Are you crazy? Wu Lily is a normal person, and she is also an adult. Isn't it normal for her to fall in love? You're still bothering me. You'd better think about yourself. Thief! Wu Lily stood aside with an ugly face. After a while, a man came downstairs and immediately rushed over and grabbed her hand. What's going on? Wu Ping. Why are you here again? Wu Ping was so angry with me that her face turned pale, and she was provoked by the man. She burst out on the spot. You little bastard lied to my sister. Wu Lily, get out of here. When the man heard what she said, he suddenly pushed her aside. Wu Ping fell to the ground for a moment, and the pain made her cry. Wu Lily, you watch him bully me like this, don't you? Wu Lily blushed and said, don't argue with him. It's your fault. Let's go. After saying that, I was about to leave with the man and I didn't do it. I can't leave. The theft has not been resolved yet, and no one is allowed to leave. Both roommates also stopped her. Just as we were arguing, the police arrived. When the police learned what happened, the police were also a little shocked, and then took us to the police station to confirm that all the electrical appliances were sold at a low price by her. The police were also a little speechless and detained her, and the company also wanted to prosecute her. Wu Ping had to go to jail when she heard it, and the company would never reconcile. Only then did she know that she was afraid and howled inside to let us forgive her. No one paid attention to her, and she had to pay the price this time. Wu Lily really has nothing to do with this matter, and her boyfriend and she have also left. Now we are finally relieved. I haven't seen Wu Ping since then, and my roommate and I welcomed a new intern again. We got along well. Later the business got back on track and I met Wu Ping again. At that time she was dressed as a cleaner and was sweeping the garbage. When she saw a passerby, she rushed up and snatched the bottle in his hand. You young people don't know how to live at all. Why do you buy drinks if you don't drink good boiled water? And you, whose good girl sells milk tea? The shopping couple was confused by her wave of manipulation. Before she could react, Wu Ping had cursed and poured out the unfinished drink, stepped on the bottle and threw it into the sack. The appearance of the light car familiarity made everyone amazed. 8. I couldn't help shaking my head as I watched. This woman is still so nervous. It's really lucky that she didn't be beaten like this. And the young couple also don't dare to provoke. After all, she looks something wrong like this. Who dares to argue with a person with a bad brain? Everyone walked around her, and Wu Ping was very proud of it. As soon as she turned around, she saw a child. She strode over and reached out to steal someone else's bottle. The child opened her mouth and cried. The eldest brother who followed her was not used to her, and waved her hand to slap her. Are you sick? You scared my daughter. I've seen you many times on this street. You robbed the bottle before they finished drinking. What do you mean? Wu Ping looked at him with a fierce face. She covered her face and stammered. I just can't get used to your waste. Who wasted it? Get out of here. Which cleaning company are you from? I'll complain about you. The eldest brother took out his mobile phone to make a phone call while talking. Wu Ping ran away in a panic. When she turned around, the 4 big words of Huali cleaning were clearly visible behind her. Some passersby took a video and put it on the internet, which instantly resonated with everyone. I know this woman, it's like a disease. Last time I bought a new dress I went out, but she pointed at me and scolded me for flirting with men. I just bought a new mobile phone last time. I asked my mother to help me debug the software. She rushed to me and scolded me for not knowing what was good or bad. She should have asked my mother to beat me up and pressed me to study hard. My mother thought she was sick and pulled me away. I know her. She is my colleague's sister. She came with my colleague on the first day of work. She asked us to take care of her more and pay her living expenses. She came to cook. I was speechless. Seeing this, I couldn't help laughing out loud. It turned out that Wu Ping was really a recidivist. She didn't do this against me. She was originally such a person. It's really unlucky for Wu Lily to have such an older sister. As the situation escalated, Many people were impressed by Wu Ping, which also directly affected her work. Wu Ping was fired by the company, and she seemed to have found the traffic password, so she cried live on the same day. Because of you, I was fired from the company. I was originally a cleaner, just a poor part-time worker. Now I have no job and can't maintain food and clothing. Are you satisfied? Isn't it just asking for a bottle to sell money? I'm just a little anxious, so I'll let you treat it like this. I help you cook and you give me the fee. Just think of it as finding a nanny. What did I do wrong? Let you repeatedly scold me for being the best weirdo. If it weren't for life, who would want to do this? In front of the camera, she cried and her eyes were red and swollen, and she showed her 3 meals a day. In order to save money, I have been living like this for so many years. The daily living expenses do not exceed 15 yuan. Just to save money for my sister to go to college and find a job. I worked so hard, but you put me on the internet casually and ruined me. Don't you have a guilty conscience? Her eyes matched with her crying voice, which made netizens silent. So is this also the reason why you steal things? I saw Zhao Mei's avatar before I could type it out. During your sister's employment, you repeatedly encouraged her to embezzle the company's public funds. Our company provided accommodation. Before you left, you stole all the company's electrical appliances and sold them at a low price. You didn't say a word about it after a year in prison. Zhao Mei was really brave and suddenly beat her back to her original form. 9. Only then did everyone know that there was such a thing. Oh my god, it turns out that there was such a dark history before. I just said that everyone can't hate the same person for no reason and at the same time. It turns out to be like this. No wonder, looking at the eldest sister's brain, there is a little problem. It's not over to take advantage of the small advantage. Her sister is really unlucky. How can she get married later when she meets such an older sister? Wu Ping hurriedly left the live broadcast and blocked all social platforms. But it didn't work. Netizens who received the news quickly exposed all her information, and even Wu Lily's details were revealed. I was a little surprised when I saw this. Now netizens flock to me as soon as something happens. I guess the 2 sisters surnamed Wu will not have a very good end. As a result, as soon as I returned to the company, my colleague pulled me and bit my ear. Do you know? Wu Lily came to make trouble with her sister. I was a little surprised. What? Just because of Zhao Mei's 2 words. The colleague nodded. They came here early in the morning. Only then did I find that there was someone in the guest room. When I heard it, it was Wu Ping's voice. I couldn't help but be a little speechless. What are they talking about? Isn't it true? It's true. Wu Ping came to ask for money and said that Zhao Mei leaked her privacy. I'm going to go. How dare you ask for money? You took our 300 yuan last time, and then you stole electrical appliances. Are you still qualified to ask for money? I rolled up my sleeves and went in with tea. I saw that Zhao Mei's face was red. Wu Ping was still on the side and said without shame, this matter is all caused by you. If you don't post an innocent, I will come to trouble you if I can't find a job. I won't leave and I won't let you go. I have never seen such a brazen person. Wu Lily also sat aside. When I saw her, I was a little surprised. After not seeing her for a while, she was so haggard that she seemed to be more than 10 years old. When they sit with Wu Ping, they look like sisters. The appearance of the 2 people made me a little incredible. I turned on my mobile phone and said, I don't want money, but what we said is the truth. You hate ghosts and come here to blackmail, right? Wu Ping suddenly exploded. What do you mean by blackmail? Why are you so unloving? We can't live any longer, and your job is also lost by you. I laughed and said, didn't you rob other people's children's coke and be fired by the company after being complained? What are you pretending to be here with me now? I've recorded it all. That day I was not far from you. I saw with my own eyes that you robbed other people's children's coke bottles and were slapped by the big brother. Now he is still running to our company to blackmail. Manager Zhao, let's call the police. This kind of person can't get used to her. Wu Lily was about to open her mouth, but I scolded her back. Wu Lily, don't pretend to be a good person here. You know your sister's virtues in your heart. If you dare to come to the company to do it, our company will fight with you to the end. I don't believe it. You can still keep your new job. Hearing the words, Wu Lily was immediately scared and quickly took Wu Ping's hand. Sister, forget it. What the hell? Let me tell you. I said forget it. Wu Lily suddenly got angry. How long are you going to make trouble? Isn't it shameful? Every time I work you must make me a mess. You scolded my boyfriend. Now you are even more ashamed to come here. Have you ever thought about what I want to be? Come back with me. Wu Lily pulled her and forcibly took her away, and the 2 quarreled all the way downstairs. Zhao Mei looked aside and couldn't help shaking her head. What kind of person is this? I curled my lips and said, there is something wrong with my mind. I thought the whole world was bullying her. Forget it, I have nothing to say to her. I never saw her again, but half a year later, Wu Ping was on the news and was sentenced to prison for attempted murder. I didn't know until I saw the news that she stabbed Wu Lily's fiancé. Wu Lily got pregnant before marriage, probably because she had been suppressed for a long time. She married her boyfriend Fengzi. Wu Ping excused herself to take care of the pregnant woman and asked them to give her 5,000 yuan a month. Wu Lily disagreed with the man. Wu Ping felt that Wu Lily was brainwashed by the man. In anger, she sneaked in the middle of the night and stabbed someone. The sisters turned against the other, and Wu Ping was imprisoned. Several of us couldn't help sighing. Fortunately, such people stayed away early, otherwise I don't know what kind of madness. I put down my mobile phone and looked outside. Several interns came in talking and laughing. It was another year's graduation season. Newcomers came to the dormitory, and I had to prepare for the newcomers.